curtains for President Trump.
There aren't many more dots after Mike Flynn, right? Your dots go to Kushner and then the president. There really are no other dots here.
This is a case that reaches directly into the heart of the Trump administration, into the Oval Office.
People now who have believed that the president's sort of loose way with information and facts was his best defense now think that the president is in danger and exposed.
I do agree. This is a big moment where if you're on the fence, you start to think, geez, is this whole thing going down? Is it Watergate?
No, to the contrary, everything's Watergate. Nothing's Watergate when everything's Watergate. Here's how famed former federal prosecutor Andy McCarthy put it in his own perspective in National Review. He said, "For all the furor, we have a small potatoes plea in Flynn's case, just as we did in Papadopoulos' case, despite extensive collusion evidence." And, of course, joining us now with reaction, former federal prosecutor Joe DeGenova and Saul Weisenberg, who served as Deputy Independent Counsel in the Whitewater investigation of Bill Clinton. Okay, Joe, is the truth somewhere between this is worse than Watergate and this is small potatoes? Where are we on this?
Well, it's very important to realize that General Flynn did exactly what Papadopoulos did. He pleaded guilty to conduct that was legal. He lied about conduct that was legal to do. All of Flynn's conversations with the ambassador to Russia were perfectly legal during the transition period and even before. It's not a crime to communicate with an ambassador of a foreign country about foreign policy when you are the foreign policy advisor to the incoming president. So I don't know why he lied. It's inconceivable to me. If he had told the truth, there would be no crime, other than the Farah stuff about his failing to register. But this is a foreign agent. This is a nothing burger. After all this time, this is what he gets out of Flynn. It tells me that there's not much there, and it certainly can't involve the president, because the president has the authority to do all the things that he did. And as far as Kushner goes, that if there's anything with Kushner, it involves transactions involving real estate deals 10, 15 years ago.
Saul, you felt it all day long, building. Jared Kushner directed, calls to Russia. First of all, even if that were true, if they were sitting around a table somewhere and Jared Kushner and a bunch of people said, well, we should probably reach out to Russia on this, find out what's going on with all the Security Council members on this Israeli sanctions thing, because none of us want Israel to have more sanctions put on them. Big deal. So what if he did? As DeGenova says, there's nothing wrong with that. You can do that all day long when you're a transition team official.
Well, there's nothing wrong with, quote, communicating with the Russians. In fact, in most instances, there's nothing wrong with a private citizen communicating with the Russians. Now, if you believe what is in the factual basis or statement of the offense of the Flynn papers, they did violate the letter. Conceivably, there was a violation of the language of the Logan Act. And you're hearing a lot about the Logan Act, but as you know, the Logan Act has never been successfully used against anyone, and the last time anyone was even indicted under it was 1852. So if Mueller is thinking of indicting anybody under the Logan Act, to me, and I've been a defender of Mueller, I think he's an honorable guy, but if he is even thinking of prosecuting anybody for violating the Logan Act, I will instantly denounce him, because it will show such bad faith that it's unbelievable to me.
Well, I would agree with that, except here's the problem for Mr. Mueller. You can't violate the Logan Act when you're in the transition team,
you're an authorized agent.
Because you're a government employee. You get a green check. When you're on the transition team, you are a special government employee. They can communicate with anybody they want. And I agree with Saul. The Logan Act's never been enforced, and if Mueller were to use it in this case, then if I were the president, I would fire him.
Yeah, now, Andy McCarthy, his point is that if there was some big scheme here, guys, they wouldn't have allowed him to plead to one count of lying to the FBI, which is a great point. I mean, if there was evidence of a scheme of collusion, they wouldn't have had to do the plea this way. And they would have gotten a lot more. So his view is that it's so far, at the very least so far, They don't really have anything on the collusion, conspiracy to influence the election front. They got Flynn, for whatever reason, he decides to lie about conversations that he could have done anyway. So that's the weird thing. I gotta make you guys laugh on a Friday. Okay, this is gonna make you laugh.
I'm ready.
Joy, because why isn't? I know Saul has a great sense of humor. He's very serious, but he has a great sense of humor. Joy Behar heard about the news of the Flynn plea, reading an ABC report today on The View. Let's watch.
Back to the show.
Breaking news.
Oh my God. Oh, breaking news. ABC News' Brian Ross is reporting Michael Flynn promised full cooperation to the Mueller team and is prepared to testify that as a candidate, Donald Trump directed him to make contact with the Russians. Yeah!
There's actually just one as Publishers Clearinghouse there, guys. But ABC, by the way, had to come out immediately and say this was not during the campaign. This was actually during the transition. But this is the level of, there it is. Yeah, to clarify, I don't have to read the whole thing.
It wouldn't even matter if it was in the campaign. Sorry to interrupt.
You could do it during the campaign.
It wouldn't matter if it was in the campaign. There's nothing wrong, quote, with talking to the Russians, all right? It depends on what you say. So, but the earlier point you made, Laura, is very important that Andy McCarthy made. This is very striking to me. The plea agreement says that Flynn is only protected from future prosecution based on items that are in the statement of the offense. That's the key document. There's nothing in the statement of the offense about collusion during the campaign. Nothing. So unless there is a completely separately sealed, completely standalone plea agreement for Flynn that is sealed, which would be almost unheard of, I think Joe will agree with me, it means that Flynn has no knowledge. Flynn, who was a key figure in the campaign, has no knowledge of any collusion with Russia during the campaign, any illegal collusion.
Yeah, you heard DeGenevieve, nothing burger, but the well-respected Bob Mueller so far is coming up with very little, in my opinion. But the hyperbolic response by the media, I mean, these people are completely unhinged. The facts are irrelevant. Analysis, irrelevant. Just jump right to the gallows for Trump. That's where they're going. Gentlemen, thank you. And Saul, I knew I could make you laugh. I got it. I got it out of you.